My name is Olela Tony, and on the grounds today, I'm the regional manager for Kectil, Kenya, and plus other titles which I want to mention. For my own security, I don't have money, guys. And I knew why I decided to sit in this angle so that me and light, because where the camera is, at least I can be seen in the future, you know? So I have amazing guests with me today, very powerful people. I think I have history with almost all of them. Yes, a history or a relationship with all of them, because I remember Gabriel mentored me when Kectil was starting in Kenya for the first court, and now you see where I am. All right, so today we're going to delve into mentorship and how do we break the grounds. And I'm also seeing very great people who have joined us today, like the CEO of BTL is here with us today, Mr. Kevin Podo, and going to share with us what they have for us. So just in a brief, let's have a quick introduction, then we delve into the questions. So I'll start with my far right and CEO. Hey, Bresta, take it on. Introduction.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Okay, my name is Brightster. I have many titles, but one, I'm a granddaughter to two grandparents. You might have seen them online. Then I'm an entrepreneur. I run a company. The name of the company is Brightster Holdings Limited. And then Star Tailored is under Brightster Holdings Limited. Star Tailored deals with tailored outfits, suits, dresses. So I think all of you here should be my clients. And I'm also a mother. I'm also a mother to a few kids that I took almost 2 years ago, and they live with me, so I take care of them fully. And that is under Brightster Foundation. Yes. I'm also a content creator. I do a lot of videos online just to empower young people to go after their dreams and to challenge them to take after what they want to do. Yeah, I'm a little bit anxious, but I'll get used as I go on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Gabriel.
Gabriel Achayo is my name. Yeah, I'm married. I think that for me is very important and very crucial. I have 3 young boys, very important and those are the things that nobody can take away from me. The fact that I have 3 boys who call me their father in my house, unless the one day they choose not to, but I hope they don't. I am privileged to have been involved in the lives of many people as a mentor, as a friend, as a colleague, walking with guys their journey. I believe in leadership, and so I'm a leadership enthusiast. That's how I call myself, and I'm glad to be here, and looking forward to the conversation. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, brand me.
I'm waiting to know the history we have. But anyway, hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm seeing very many familiar faces, guys we went to uni with, Guguni, and so many other people, Tom, Sandra. It's just amazing. And to meet all of you is also really amazing. So my name is Lynette Mukunji, the founder of Brand Me. I'm a personal brand strategist and coach. I do personal branding. I love that I have people who are mentors, who work in leadership, who are enthusiasts in leadership. So I know we are really going to get along because I meet a lot of people who are also in the same line of work, who want to just put themselves out there. So yeah, that's so much about me. Yeah, and I'm just glad to be here and to learn.
All right, thank you so much. You know, when I was being given the list of the guests to grace this this event, so I was trying to look at their background, but I was told Lynette is a very powerful brand person, and I was like, okay, I'm also a brand, so where am I? So I'm so happy to have all of you in this panel today. So I just have like some few questions, and you also made me to remember some, but they are most apparent. Kwende mwamini? Ala? Amwamini maneno? Yeah, only those who are close to me know I'm a parent. I'm a parent of 45 old street parents whom I adopted 1 year back, and I cater for their daily meal. So I'm a parent. Sindio? I'm also a parent of one boy, from one, who is a son to one of the family members in the streets whom I'm supporting. And I'm trying to pay his school fee. See, I'm a parent. I'm an age. How should I say I'm married? God for us all. So, thank you so much. I also did start a program, Masterclass Bolila Tony, where I work so closely with my boss. Hi, Stacy. That's Stacy. She's my personal admin at Masterclass Bolila Tony. And so far, we're mentoring over 35 applicants all over the world. It's run online. And being that I'm seeing Gabriel with the mic on. No. You give Gabriel. Let me ask you. I've had questions about building relationships here and how can you sustain them. And most of young people, when we talk about mentorship, when we talk about how can we build our brand, it becomes a challenge. I know we're in a culture where people have difficulties to identify their mentors. Some mentors are intentional. Some mentors have their own businesses around how they want to deal with their mentees. So how can the culture of mentee-mentor relationship be nurtured?
I find myself in a space where I work with senior people and young people. And occasionally I find myself where I'm trying to match young people to be mentored by senior people. And so that question is a relevant question because it's also a question I ask myself every day. So I've not figured out the answer yet. But I'll give my personal experience. So I have a background in mechanical engineering. That's my undergraduate degree. So when I was finishing, I had by chance gotten to interact with some group of guys who introduced me to a guy who later would become my mentor. And I remember when someone told me, I'd been hearing about him and I wanted to meet him. They told me, that's the guy. So I ran over to him and I told him, I've heard a lot about you. I'd like you to be my mentor. And he told me he doesn't know what that means, but he gave me his card and told me to call him 2 weeks later. So 2 weeks later, I reached out to him. And we met. And that started a journey. This is in 2007, when this was happening. Up to date, that guy is my mentor. In 2008, largely, we met every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Every Wednesday, every week, unless he was out of town. And what happened in that meeting, would meet and he would share his story, I'd share my journey, and we'd just talk. And in that, we built a friendship. Beyond just him mentoring me, trying to share his experiences with me, he became a friend. And he became someone who I knew genuinely was on my corner. No matter what, he was on my corner. And that for me was very crucial. And so when you're asking this identifying and the long-term commitment into mentorship, because many times you start a journey with a mentor, you meet once and then you don't click, and then you're not going to meet again. And now someone is wondering, should I call them? Should I not call them? But I think if you really, and for me, I think at that point is I was yearning for something. And for some reason, something in me kept telling me that this guy might be a key to what I'm yearning for. I didn't know it then. So I kept reaching out to him, and I kept reaching out to him, and I kept making myself available. And good enough, he was also available. And he also prioritized whatever it is was happening He prioritized it and he made time for it every week. Up to date, we still meet as regular as we can. So I don't know whether I've answered your question. Did I answer, or did I just say a bunch of things that doesn't make sense? Because sometimes I do that.
You know, sometimes when I'm silent, I consult my ancestors. So actually, that's very factual because I can relate the process and even my own journey up to where I am today. It takes courage. It takes knowing what you really want. And it takes a lot. The first step depends on you as an individual. You know? Mm-hmm. So I think that now takes me to the next question, to Madam CEO. You know, just briefly, because I feel like getting more questions from the audience. What has been the most significant value in your experiences of mentorship in business?
Okay, first of all, I didn't plan to go to business. I always thought I was going to work with an NGO because I remember when I was in campus, there was a big joke about me where people were saying, it was actually the fellow student leaders, and they would say, if Bryce ever becomes the finance secretary of this country, it is going to go broke because she's going to give all the money in the streets. And that's what I used to do as a student leader. I would get my salary and then I give it out. But when I started business, it's because I was at a very low point. I was just going through a low moment, a very low moment. I've had many low moments, I think Gabriel can tell. But when I began, it was a way of me, my ideal life was to go to media. But then I felt I was hiding my hand at that time. I used to hide my hand a lot. And I felt if I do business, then no one is going to get concerned about my hand. And then I ended up in business, and I ended up being a very good salesperson because every client who would come in and find me would not leave without buying, and that gave me confidence. Now, I didn't look for a business mentor. As I said, it's not something I was looking to go into. But this is what happened. As I was building, it's okay. As I was building my business, I got this call from a client. It was actually a message. And then he told me, I need a ready-made suit tomorrow by 8 a.m. And I told him, I don't know, I don't have ready-mades. I was tailored. And then he gave me a call and he told me, I need a suit. I have a meeting tomorrow and you are the only hope. And I told him, I don't know where to get a ready-made suit. I was still new in the industry. And he said, you have to get me a suit. And he hung up. And I was on my way to Nakuru at that time. There was a client, we were going to take measurements. And I overslept, of course, because we got there very late. And I woke up at around 8 to find like 20 missed calls from this number. And when I called him back, I told him, I didn't get ready-made suits. I told you I could not be in a position to, and he told me, I am waiting. And so I had to go online, try get numbers, and get a ready-made suit. And these ready-made suits, they needed to be delivered somewhere in Thika Road, and I needed to pay some money. And I called him, and he was like, yes, you need to bring 2. He didn't know his size. So I had to talk to the people who I was buying from and tell them to give 2 suits, and I had to pay deposit to those people so that they can deliver the suits. Long story short, they were delivered. Now, I don't understand why I didn't get the queue, but the motorbike person had said it was 300, but after delivering, he said it was 1,000. I should have understood the kind of home he found, but I didn't know why. Then after some time, I called him and I gave him a serious lecture, and I told him, look, you will be having your suits on time. And next time, don't take me through the same process you've taken me. And then he invited us to his home, and we took measurements. I thought he was a young boy until I saw photos on the wall, and there was the wife's photo and a kid. And after that, we didn't plan to have mentorship because what he did was he started talking to me. He noticed I was hiding my hand, and he started talking to me and telling me, you're such a beautiful girl. I don't know why you're hiding your hand. You need to heal. The reason why you're hiding is that it's a problem from within. You need to accept it. And so he took me about almost a year, a process of accepting my hand. He's like, don't hide it. When you hide it, it's when it brings a lot of questions. Until I accepted my hand, and I posted a photo of my hand in Facebook. Then after that, he started telling me, I think you are very talented in public speaking. You need to start doing videos. You can't spend all your life as a CEO who is not known by anyone. And then after some conversations, I ended up creating a Facebook page. And that's how I started content, because he kept feeling I had something that I could offer to the world. And he kept calling, have you done a video? I'm like, no, I've not done a video. And through this journey, until today, we are very good friends with his family. And he is a person who's been having conversations with me. Look, we didn't have any conversation. It's just that I ended up solving a need that he had, which is a ready-made suit, and he took it upon himself to mentor me. So that was like the most impactful mentorship experience I had in business. And only for me to find out later he's a business owner. He is like 30 years. And he's been through a lot. He's built his business for like 10 years. So he could relate with my journey and he could advise. Yeah, that's it. That's how I ended up with my business mentor.
Wow. Please clap for us. You know, when I tell you that I have a brief history with almost everyone here, I remember the other day we were stranded with you till around 2 a.m.
Yes.
And she was doing a video. I was looking at her, I was like, ah. By that time, I was feeling sleepy, by the way. At 2 a.m., we're in town, working on some visas. And I was like, so when you hear her story, she just put a comma. And if you want to hear more about her story, please look for her. Because when she lives in this place, you will not find her. Even it's very difficult for me to find her. And we struggle a lot. So even before I go to Lynette, and then come to the audience, you know, I'm so happy when I see young people coming for a dinner in Kectil, and they're on their phones chatting with the people who will not help them. I always like reminding young people the real thing that they're doing in the platforms where they need to learn. Because, all right, let's just be honest. Who just came to eat today? Just be honest. Who came to eat? When you saw dinner, you just came to eat. I have 3 people. Where is the accountant? I don't know if he's around. We used to give these guys some few dollars because they're very honest. So I know when you come to these sessions, we try to engage, but you find that young people, that's the time they get to, they're busy chatting. People won't help them. They're busy chatting with their ex, another, the list is so long. So always try to challenge, please, when you come to these places, these are where you can identify your potential employer, potential mentor. You see? Potential, the other one that you know. So we have so many potentials around. So you need to maximize on these spaces. I remember, Lynette, last week when there's a summit that I'm planning with my friend Kevin Apod. Hi, Kevin, how are you? You see, that's what is very important. The summit that we're planning with him in August is called African Employability Summit. I remember last week when we were having a meeting with the US Embassy, we were asked a question, a very critical question. How many mentees do you have so far to convince us to be partners in this summit? We told them that we've rolled out over 100 cohorts. And even today, Kevin is doing it. Huh? And Kevin can confirm having the cohort of 11 made the embassy promise to partner with us for the summit. Because we were able to give even testimonials of young people who have benefited for the course that we've been driving through the Employability Summit. So my question to you, Lynette, is why do you think mentorship is very, very important, especially for young people? Allow me to repeat. I've taken my time again. Why do you think mentorship is very, very important for young people?
When I started out on business, it was a lot of guesswork. The drive was, honestly, I'll be very honest, mine was not a need. Mine was, where is the money? So I'd go in, there's a time when we were, I'm such a millennial, but back in the day, there's a time when people were doing bracelets with, I don't know, these bladders and, yeah. So people are making money, and I was like, I'm going to get in. I go to the supermarket, I buy the bladders and what have you not. We start on it. And then there's a time that came and people were doing, fashion became a thing. So what she was saying, and I was like, this looks like a good business. Then I get into it. And then at one point I was like, okay, yes, I was employed. After uni immediately I was employed. I was actually employed in Strathmore. So the in thing then was, everyone on LinkedIn was a CEO. I don't know whether you guys were, or I'm only speaking to Gen Z. But there's a period everyone was a CEO. Whether you're selling just a banana, whether you are a CEO. So everyone was so that was like a trend. You're employed, but you have a side hustle. And you're not calling yourself a hustler. You're a CEO, you're a CFO, you're whatever small thing you're doing. So I also got in the trend. And at one point, I just decided, you know what? Who are these? Is it Steve Jobs? Who these entrepreneurs who dropped out of college and they still made it? So I was like, me, I'm starting my business. Me, I'll make it. I'm going to make so much money. Where there's a way? No, where there's a will, there's a way. And then also this manifestation, that manifestation thing had also, The Secret, I don't know whether you remember that thing, it had also just started. So I was in the hype, I was like, every night I'm there and I'm like, this business is going to take me places. So I started a bag business. And it was doing well. I was selling 1 bag, 2 bags, etc. So I met a cousin of mine, because I went out of work around 2020, so COVID had just come in, and now my business at that point felt like a luxury kind of business. So with COVID, people were not looking so much. The dynamics of the industry had shifted a bit. So people are moving online, and then people didn't look like they were really investing. People are now hoarding. You remember that period, February, people are hoarding CG, tissue papers, people are buying gases, CG. So selling to someone a bag, a leather bag, looked like a very, that's not a priority at that time. So I kept getting 1, 2 orders. I wasn't getting a job. Me who had left my job knowing very well I was going to do so well. So I meet my cousin, and she tells me, let me look at your books. Let me see how your business is doing, because I'd put my savings in the business. And she broke down the whole thing for me, from what are my expenses, what's profit margin. I didn't even think of all those things. Me, I was just running. When I get 2,500 from a bag, I send around some money from that, I just send some money back to my tailor. They make the bag, whatever is on top, kwa mfuko. Or that day I just go and do something with it. I wasn't really, but she mentored me so well. I got to understand, and I got to realize business is so much more than just selling and buying, So the reason why mentorship is very important is because when you start a business, or sometimes even when you're employed, because I also deal with professionals, the knowledge gap you realize you have is overwhelming. You realize you don't know so many things. You realize, you're doing a lot of guesswork with your life. And sometimes some people feel like it's too late. I've met a client who just asked me, I'm now in my 40s. Starting to work on my personal brand right now feels like a decade of avocado that is important because it's an avocado, but cannot be eaten. You get it? So, you meet people, and there are very many people who've given up. Actually, personal branding is like therapy. It's like you're doing therapy for people. So mentorship is very important because if you do not have, you may think you know everything, but is there anyone who really knows everything? Really? So when you have mentorship, you close the knowledge gap and you start building yourself, your business, your career in the right direction. At least you start in the right step. Even if you get, like he had previously said, sometimes you get a mentor and you don't click. You know, the people who say their mentors are bullies, because they're not really bullies, but you find like if someone has a very strong personality and you probably have esteem issues, sometimes it can be, they can be a mismatch. They're just those small problems that come up here and there based on our personalities. So mentorship is extremely important. It's almost like a need. Literally, if you don't have a mentor here, just go, I always say, even start from LinkedIn and type and work backwards and think, what do I really want to do? And who are the people in this space? And just look up and look at them and see, reach out to them. I mean, sometimes we are so scared to ask for what we have, for what we want, and yet it is in asking that we can only get. Yeah. So I think for me, the reason mentorship is important is because honestly, you really need someone to work with you.
Wow. Mambo yamechemka. As KRG says it, Daktari, how are you? I know we are soon going back to the hospital. So she has given a very interesting story on why it is important to have a mentor. And to some extent, I always tell, I know I have so many mentees in here. I know if they wave their hands, it can be a whole choir. Please, even as you're looking for a mentor, don't give your mentor difficult time. People are so busy, by the way. I always tell people are so busy. And you need to ensure that you walk the journey with your mentor as a mentee. Come up with creative ideas. Challenge your mentor to see how best they can mentor you. Be it on business. Don't wait for your mentor to be calling you. Hello, how are you? What are you doing? What next? What's your plan? You find so many mentees who are having mentors, and even mentors walk away, by the way. They can walk away. Because, like, how resilient are you? Like, how consistent are you? You see, the way you people disturb God, go down to be rich. Okay? And the same way you should be putting your mentors bumper to bumper for you to learn something. You understand? And personal branding is very important. And there's some good friends of mine, like Boniface. Your journey with the organization is so interesting about data. It's so interesting. So please, as you do your work, as you look, even as you go to LinkedIn. By the way, it is not a must that your mentor must be driving a V8. Your mentor can be that next person whom you think can't add value to your life. I won't talk much about relationships because that's another topic altogether. So, at this point, I give it to the audience. Please ask us questions. Hey. Okay. The MC, please pass the mic around. Quick questions. I see. All right. Yeah, so please just make it brief and then direct to the individual so that yes, Boniface.
Yeah, thank you so much. And maybe I'll speak to Gabriel. I mean, all of you could answer, but when I look at relationships, I think of it as something that should be symbiotic, right? And so maybe that is something that you could even speak to, because I don't really expect that somebody will really take their time to mentor somebody minus maybe not expecting something at the end, right? Because again, that will be a monkey business kind of. Yeah. So maybe you can just speak in terms of when you are mentoring somebody, or when like you're mentoring somebody, like what is your end goal? It's not really that you're really interested that ujamaa akue tu peke yake. Yeah, you might also be looking at also advancing yourself. Otherwise, you'll not be doing that again. Yeah, so just speak into like what kind of relationship are you building with your mentee specifically?
My name is Phoebe. Yeah, so for me, as I was saying, I think I'm a bit confused because when someone mentors you, they don't of course they come to mentor you. Maybe you're new to the business, they're mentoring you on business, but there's the wholesome, the wholesome, where life has so many aspects. There is emotional, there is spiritual, there is physical, there are all those aspects of life. So how do you make sure that you get a mentor that cuts across? Because I've had them mention that they are friends with their mentors. How do you make sure that you find, it's a quick job, it's like it's too formal. How do you make sure that you get a mentor who has a balance so that you also don't have too many mentors? One is mentoring you on spiritual, another one is mentoring you on career, another one is mentoring you on relationships and marriage. How do you make sure you get a mentor who is like wholesome? That question goes to, it's a free one.
My name is Valentine Luhunzu. I have 2 questions. So one, as a peer mentor, I guess we are at a stage where you're trying to also hold someone, but you're also learning. And it gets confused when you're dealing with yourself, learning yourself, and you're also teaching someone from the back. So as a younger generation that we're coming up with mentoring others, how do you get to a point where you want to debrief? How do you know this is my lassity? I need to debrief, and where do you debrief to? Then my second question goes to the business side, or do we say the purpose side? How do you streamline your ideas to get a solid purpose for yourself? For instance, if you want to do fashion, you have other things in your life, and I think we mostly think of 100 ideas at the same time. How do you get to that solid idea you want to focus on and give it your all? Yeah.
They were very hot questions, huh? So we'll go with the first. Yeah. All right.
Let me start because he started with me, but I'll also say something just on what she said. I think mentorship is critical, and she said it very well. Everybody needs a mentor, but I'd say everybody needs a coach. And there's a difference between mentorship and a coach. And a mentor is someone who will tell you, I've walked this path, I fell down here, please don't walk this path. I've learned the following. A coach is different. A coach will partner with you, but doesn't necessarily have walked your path. They've never probably walked your path, but they'll help you discover. And so that question on focus, that is a conversation you have with a coach to help you find out where can you focus on. If you have 1,001 ideas that you want to implement, you need to sit down with a coach to help you clarify, because a coach helps you clarify those. On relationships, mentorship, I kind of lost how he asked it. So if you can just ask it again. Yeah. Oh, yes. Guguni said something earlier. I think that's what I was hanging on. That's why I forgot what you're asking. Guguni said it's an exchange. And I think that exchange could be material or immaterial. And here's been my experience with some of the people that I've walked a journey with. I know people who offer to walk a journey with someone, their lives are more happier. Their lives are more fulfilling. If I have some people I'm holding their hands. Now, a number of you here have gone to high school to mentor high school kids. Anybody has done that before? How did you feel when you just went there and got this young person who just asked you questions and you were able to speak to them? You went home feeling like you did the best thing ever. Isn't it? So for me, that in itself is good enough. Now, in my journey for mentorship, I've also learned to I've met a lot of amazing, gifted young people who come and propel something to another level that I never thought of. And so when I thought I was mentoring them, they have given so much into whatever it is, and sometimes they even become a solution to some problems in my life. And I remember a friend of mine who is over 70 years old. This is what he says. And he gives this free advice. He says, anybody who is over 60 needs a friend who is under 40, so that they can help them figure out how to keep updated and stay relevant in this dynamic world. So I think in that, there's the give and take, the exchange that Guguni talked about. In that, as I'm mentoring this young person, I'm also learning from them. I'm also realizing how I need to keep up with the trends, and they'll help me unlock because some of us, we're used to very old style of doing stuff, isn't it? But when you sit down with a young person, they tell you, no, Excel sheet. This is a trick on Excel sheet, isn't it? And all of a sudden you go show up and you are surprising your colleagues in a meeting. Hey, Gabriel, how did you learn how to do this? You had a session with a young guy, isn't it? Who really showed you how to put together. The other day I was being told how to use Canva. You see? So you see those things. Now she's laughing because probably that's no-brainer, isn't it? But to me, Canva is even a foreign thing, isn't it? The other day I was being told, Gabriel, you need to get on TikTok. And they made a TikTok account for me. I had TikTok on my phone for some time, then I deleted it because I realized I was probably not using it, and my phone is getting filled up. So I was looking at what apps can I delete, and TikTok was a casualty. So now I'm being told, Gabriel, you need to bring it back because there are some things that are happening there that you need to know about. I don't know if I've answered you on that. So I think it's very important to look at it with that mindset. It might not be material, like you're not like being paid by this guy to mentor them, but there's a lot more intangible benefits that you can reap from there. I wanted to say something, and then I can give my colleagues to say about peer mentorship, and you're dealing with your own issues also. You're going through your own. Nobody is perfect, isn't it? Even all these guys who look nice, well collected, like they don't touch a fly, those guys have issues. They just have a way of putting themselves together when they step out. But when you look deep into, they have a lot of drama they're dealing with. So nobody is really perfect. But I think everybody needs a place where you can just be you. Where you can just tell someone, man, I don't know what's happening. I don't feel this anymore. I don't feel like I want to continue doing this. And so it's important when you're mentoring other people to create space for yourself to debrief. Find a friend who you can always go to and say, hey, I think yesterday I made a mistake, or I can't continue doing this. So create your own space, because there's a conversation I like having about wounded healers. We are all wounded healers. We all have issues we are struggling with, but we still have to show up for others. We still have to show up and help other people overcome their challenges as much as we also have our challenges. So yourself, you need to figure out, where then do you go to find help for yourself? Because if you do not have that, you'll get toxic. And when you get toxic, you will not give the help you'd like to give to someone. I can keep going on, but I'll stop.
Right. Thanks so much. I know you've covered a lot on the questions. Maybe if you want to add something, Brisa, briefly.
Okay, for me, I want to answer the question on how do you get one mentor. And I'm going to answer it with my journey. I think you need to put yourself out here. Don't sit and wait for a mentor to locate you. Because most mentors are serious people, are busy people, and they are only going to spot potential and something that you're doing. So I know when you're young, you're so lost, you don't know where to start, but make sure you are doing something. Now, when I was in campus, I found myself doing political science, and I didn't know what to do with that degree in the long run, so I decided to run for a political office, just to put my papers into use. And I was 17, and I didn't think I was going to win. I was just playing around, and I was getting a lot of attention because of my voice, my hair, everything. And I ran away with it. I went to the ballot, and it wasn't until I won when they discovered I didn't even have an ID. And that winning a student leadership position, that was finance secretary. We had to use an affidavit and, a birth certificate for me to be allowed to sign. And when I found myself in that space, booyah, for those who don't know Buya, Buya is Guguni's lovely wife. And Buya was a former student leader. And she came through in guiding me on how to be a student leader. She became my mom. She was the person I was asking questions. Look at that. She mentored me throughout student leadership. That's how I ended up meeting Guguni, because they were, I don't want to say what, but yes, I was introduced to Guguni by Buya. And I remember at that time I was having a very serious crush on a president of Kenyatta University at that time. And little did I know, later on is when Buya told me, you know, Guguni warned him. He told him if he was not serious about you, he shouldn't joke with you. And I didn't know that Guguni was going ahead to protect me because I was very delicate. If I dated in campus, I would have lost it. That's just the truth. But Guguni acted as my mentor, as a big brother, as a leader in my life, to even protect me from boys who I thought I needed at that time without my knowledge. That was him mentoring me. And every time there was an event, Guguni would invite me. That was Guguni being my mentor in the leadership space. And that's how I met Sherry, the founder of Kectil, who, through Guguni is the one who introduced me. I was given the papers, I applied, and I was selected, and I went through the 1-year training. And meeting Sherry really inspired me because I think I have so many characteristics like Sherry. She loves high heels. She's very delicate. She's very pretty. So I was like, that's my mom from America. But I didn't tell her that. But meeting Sherry was very fundamental because I was able to learn a lot of stuff through her program. And I remember on 2022, December, I was done with business. I hadn't gone to work for like 3 months. I had a lapse, a mental breakdown. And I don't know how Sherry looked for me, but when we talked, she was like, no, I don't think you're okay. I need to speak to you. Can we do a video call? I was like, no, I don't want to do a video call. I've been crying. She was like, no, Brightster. This is 2022. This is the other day. And she was like, no, Brightster, we do a video call. I'm giving you 10 minutes. Prepare yourself. We're doing a video call. And we did a video call. And when we did that video call, Sherry asked me what was the problem, and I explained to her. That time I had a bunch of kids in my house, over 10 kids. I'm trying to take care of them. My business is collapsing, and I didn't know who to talk. And I was also one of a dreamer, so I got into a lot of loans to push my business, and then business didn't work. So I was in a big mess. And Sherry talked to me. She was checking on me through emails. She was encouraging me not to give up. And she came through for me and helped me in a big deal to pick myself up. And by December, because of talking to Sherry, I was able to go back to work. Sherry was a mentor in business, online trainings, and then she was also a mentor in terms of reminding me who I was. And she told me she believed in me, and I needed to hear that someone believed in me at that time. And I didn't say, when I was a student leader again, I went for training at AOLF, which was run by Gabriel. And if Gabriel can give you the story, I kept breaking down because people were bringing up my hand. I had a lot of triggers. They would manage me like a kid. I was 17 and I was just breaking down. They mentored me because I pushed myself in situation to be a student leader. And then I even ended up being awarded. That time I used to help kids pay school fees. I was awarded as a top 5 student leader through the African Youth Leadership Forum, which was run by Gabriel. I may not have believed in myself that time, but they saw that potential. And that was my first award of helping people, and it really helped me. It was like, these people have awarded me when I'm crying and breaking down because I'm helping people, so I can do something with my life. When I was winning student leadership, that's where I met Edward Kipkalia. We were awarded, both of us, for Top 5 Student Leaders Award. Edward pushed me to apply for Miss President. He even helped me write the papers. He would send my applications. He encouraged me, and I was telling him, I'm not yet 20. That time I was 19. He was like, you need to apply. You will turn 20 when you are in the academy. And this is what I'm saying. Edward was my mentor in terms of applications, in terms of believing in myself. And I remember even on my lowest moments, I would call Edward. He is sitting here. So look at it this way. Put yourself out here. Don't be afraid. Mentors, you meet them as you do stuff. They won't come looking for you in your bedroom. You put yourself out here, and as you do stuff, mentors will come your way. The benefit that they get, most mentors are looking for fulfillment. Once they mentor you and they see you winning, it makes them feel good, because as much as you make money, money will not give you fulfillment, but seeing someone else rise and shine will give you so much fulfillment. So that's it.
Wow.
I can't add.
Okay. So then I want to answer the question, what if the fulfillment is not just in what they're giving you? Because then you asked about the symbiotic relationships. Because some mentors do want money for the experience they've had in life, and they're taking you through, So then that is where you look at, is this particular mentorship an investment to you in the long run? So do you want to look at it as an investment? Like if, yes, they're charging, I could get other free mentors from all over the place, but I'm focused on this particular person and they're charging, but is this investment worth it? So just like everything in life, just like business, just like when you're doing your career, everything is an investment to you, whether it's free or charged. At the end of the day, you're building yourself. And anything that is being built is an investment. You don't invest in something that you don't see profit. Profit could be tangible, for profit could be material, So when it comes to symbiotic relationships, it's now you to decide whether it's worth to have that investment, even if it's monetary, even if you're going to spend. So you just really have to do an introspection. I believe in introspection so much. Being impulsive, Gabriel, right? Yeah, Gabriel is really a good mentor. Someone mentioned him, so I'm going for Gabriel's program, He's free of charge anyway, I'm going in. Or, sorry, what's your name? Tony doesn't charge, but Gabriel charges, so I'm going for Tony. So introspection is very important. I believe so much in the power of introspection. You have to sit down with yourself. I can mentor you, but I can't force you to do what I want you to do. So introspection is also very important. So I hope I've answered you. Yeah. Okay, and then the lady behind talked about how do I get a wholesome mentor? And I think in part she's answered that sometimes you may not get everything in one mentor because you are at different stages in life. During different stages in life, you require different type of people. But then sometimes you meet people and you can be with them, just like Gabriel has said, he's been with the mentor for a very long time. What I just want to clarify for you so that I can kill that confusion that you said you're having is that being a mentor does not mean they have to fulfill all your roles. What happens is they can direct you based on your needs to someone who can actually fulfill those roles. Maybe they understand that your issues are deeper. You've heard of things like abandonment wounds, so you seek a lot of validation, you have a lot of self-doubt, so they can guide you. I think at this point you need to see a therapist, and maybe they can suggest therapists you need to see. So in that way, they're still your mentor, but they are not in a position to give you therapy services because therapy goes deep, yeah? Or maybe they can advise you to come to Kectil. Maybe they feel like they have a course that is going to help you further into your entrepreneurship journey, or, So a mentor can direct you to things that they feel can help you. So in that way, they're still a holistic mentor. Just maybe they're not the ones who are best suited to give you that particular service. Yes. And then the peer mentor, let me just finish. I'll do a quick one. She talked about, and this is how I'd phrase it, how do you teach when you also need teaching? So I think, just like Gabriel said, we are a work in progress always. So what I'd say is, when I was in uni, the people I would talk to were high school students, that would just go and just talk to them. But then I was dealing with uni problems for sure. But then there are a thing or two I knew about high school and how I overcame a few things that I knew I could talk confidently to them about. But when you start your journey into mentorship, imagine learning is continuous. So you really never say, I'm a mentor, I'm good, like the entrepreneur who was talking about sanitary towels. He can't just say, okay, now I've done sanitary towels, I'm the best in the market, and it stops there. He has to learn. That's why he's learned how to do grants. That's why he'll now have to look for someone who can teach him how to do public speaking, for example. Because guess what? These days, which is a discussion for another day, people are not, in the past we used to say, what's your why as a business. But these days, people are also looking at who's your who. You know, I want to invest in a business where when I look at the people behind the business, I'm convinced that they can actually solve my need, yeah? So people are always learning. So even as you give your peer mentorship, be confident in what you already have. So teach what you already have as you continue to learn. And the good thing about mentorship is you'll come and someone will give you a problem you can't solve. So from there, then you learn, oh, okay, this area I have knowledge gap, so I may need to educate myself as I refer them to someone who at this point I think would be a better help to them. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. I'm just hoping that they've tried to answer almost all the remaining questions. Do you still have some one or two people here?
My name is Jeff Kiplimo. I have one question, simply. One lady highlighted about peer mentors. Another one, okay, you talked about senior mentors, and there is also professional mentors. Personally, I have never found a mentor. Not found, I have never looked for a mentor. But it has reached a point that everyone is talking about mentors. So I'm here, and I have all these three options to pick from. Is it possible to strike a balance in the peer, professional, and senior mentors? Or if I try to balance all of them, one might fail, or can you try highlight on that? Thank you.
All right. I think, Gabriel, you'll briefly tackle that. I see the next mic. Yes, please.
My name is Lorraine. I have 3 questions. The first one is, when you're choosing a mentor, right? Is this person supposed to be in the same field as you are? And if this person is not supposed to be in the same field as you are, opposing to you choosing a mentor who is in the same field and who is not, are there additional advantages? And then my second question is, some of us, mainly, for me, I don't have a mentor, but I have a specific public figure that I read her books, I listen to her podcast, I literally wake up every morning and listen to her podcast, read her books. So, do you have to have a physical contact with this mentor for an impact to take place in your life? And my final question is, for you guys that you have grown and now you're where you are, do you feel like there's a point that you have outgrown, I wouldn't say outgrown, that you have grown and maybe you need a new mentor? Like maybe you were 19 and you had a mentor and now you're 28, you're 30, and you feel like at this point in my life, with this kind of growth, I need another mentor. Thank you.
Simon Peter here. I have one question. How I wish you'd have looked at the table during the first session, during the policy dialogue. One guy who's very interested in policy, everything concerning policy, of course. But right now, just ask one question, and that goes to the mentors. Most of us have talked about the mentees. And I guess during mentorship, it's more of a sharing. Before, you need to understand the person you're going to mentor before you start, of course, the program. So how do you deal with one, just in case you are affected psychologically as a mentor? How do you deal with this? Because people have stories, and the mentee stories might get into you. So one, how do you deal with it, just in case it gets into you? And then two, how do you prevent it from getting into you? Before, that should have come first and then the latter. So yeah, the two. How do you deal with this before it gets to you, before it gets into you, and then how do you deal with it after? That is psychologically. Thank you so much.
Mine is just a comment, and especially on mentorship, because I don't want to call myself a mentor. But the thing is, when it comes to mentorship, there is need for boundary. You know, you need to set a clear boundary between you and your mentor, and even between you and your mentee. So I have a mentor who actually publishes my books. This guy is in the US. But this guy, there was a time he missed to hear from me for like, I think a month. And then he got worried. So he called me and asked me like, Kevin, what happens? What is the problem? Why are you so quiet? And then during that time, I remember I was going through hard economic times. I didn't have money, you understand? But I couldn't tell him directly that I don't have money, you understand? So this guy told me, is it something personal? Should we go like outside the professional box so that you can open up? That day we actually talked, we were on a phone call up to 1 a.m. And then after talking for 2 hours, he was like, okay, I can understand what you're going through. So this guy sent me money, but he didn't give me money like in kind. He told me, I want to give you some loan so that you start a business. You know, so after some time, when I wanted to return this money, he was like, no, just let it be. So that boundary is very, very important because I know we're human beings and no one can invest in you without any return on that investment. So just know the kind of return and expect it in advance. Is it emotional investment? You understand? Is it financial? But one very important thing, as I finish on my comment, is that mentorship is two-way. You understand? So in as much as the mentor gives, you also have to give something. Even if it's just good vibes, you know, just as Tony mentioned that, don't let the mentor be the one calling or reaching out every time, you understand? So what kind of value are you offering? And to me, ndio nifike mahali nimefika, it took mentorship. Are we together? So it took mentorship, and that is why I also mentor people, even though I don't like talking about that. But my name is Kevin Apodo. I run Be The Leader, BTL. And just as Tony said, we are a consultancy firm. And one of our key areas is HR, you know, human resource services. And what we do under that umbrella is skills training and evaluation. So our main focus currently is on entrepreneurship or small business management skills, and of course employability skill. And that is what Tony was trying to tell you guys about our upcoming employability summit, African Employability Summit. These are trainings we've been doing for the past more than 4 years in partnership with the US Embassy, and that therefore means the impact has grown. Actually, outside Africa, we have beneficiaries spread across Africa and beyond. We have the United States, Europe, and all that. So our summit is in August. Tony is part of the planning team. And just today, I know he's aware, we were having a meeting with the team from the embassy, and a certain lady mentioned something, that there is this thing that people say, be your own boss, all right? I want to be my own CEO, the CEO of my own company. So let's assume this is the whole population that we have in the world. And then I'm a CEO, you are a CEO, another person is an MD, who is going to work for who? You understand? So let us start thinking in that direction. Are we together? We cannot all be CEOs. And sometimes we have to learn through mentorship. And mentorship is not only found through people who run their own startups. Mentorship actually even happens in the workplace, through your colleagues, through your employers. Are we together? So allow me end it at that. But I was asked to say this, Tony. The US Embassy is setting up what we call American Corner in Upper Hill. If you're a creative or if you're a creator, you understand? You're creating something, either product, there is that artist, yeah, there is that artist, there is, you know, as long as you're a creator, there is an opportunity there. I know a lot of you guys struggle sometimes with finding venues. These venues are actually free. There is free internet, there is, all these equipments that you can see here, a mic, a podcast, a camera, and all that. So it's upon you to just think of what you can do at that particular corner. I know there are several, but that particular one is solely meant for creators. It's a creator lab or a maker lab. So if you have an idea of what you can do at a space that you've been given for free, then you can always reach out. The official opening will be in June, but there is an event before the pre-launch that will happen in May. And we met a lot of creatives and they want to do things there. So you can take advantage of that. I am with Eugene. Eugene is one of my mentees. He volunteers at American Corner Moi University that is in town, and is also a student from Pioneer University. So thank you so much. I know we'll engage further.
Thank you so much. So even as I go to my panel, today in the morning I met a young person, and he asked me, I think he thought that I had money. Now he asked me, how can I be rich? The good thing, there was the nearest forest, Shamba, where we were passing. I told that guy, young man, that, do you want to be rich? And he was like, please advise me. Let me advise you in a minute. Are you seeing this forest? There is money in that forest. Go and make your hands dirty. And me in the forest. I'm like, then you'll die poor. So allow me go back to my panel briefly. I know the questions are very hot, and food is also hot. So, so you can just make it brief, and then we call it a close-up.
All right, so I think I'll first start with the gentleman who asked how to strike a balance between mentors if you're seeking different stage. I think I interpreted as different stages of life or different items. So there's something we had said earlier about a coach and a mentor. So again, I go back to my point. You have to do an introspection. Why exactly do you need a mentor? So when you go to the basis of why you need a mentor, at this point in life, what exactly do you need? Because usually there's something that's pushing you to want a mentor. Is it that you feel like career-wise you're stagnant, or career-wise you want to focus? Is it that you feel like generally what you want, like what he said, generally what you want at this point, you feel like, what are the steps I can take to build wealth, for example? Or I'm looking at starting a family. So just do an introspection and understand, what exactly do I want? Because the mind can really confuse you. Because social media also has a lot of things. So sometimes we get so drawn, or we drown into the needs of other people. So when you do an introspection and you understand why you need mentorship, then you'll know what type of mentor do you actually need right now. Do you actually need a mentor, or do you need a coach? And in what field? Because there are many coaches. There's business coaches, there's career coaches, there's branding coaches, there's all these things. So mentorship is the same thing. Why do you really need mentorship, and who fits the type of mentor you need? So when you do an introspection, it's so easy to answer those questions. A very uncomfortable place to be, because introspection is not easy. And that's why sometimes you need to sit with someone and just go through to understand, because sometimes even understanding your own self is so hard. You think you need something, but maybe you don't. And that sort of thing. So just figure out what you really need, and then now start working backwards from there. Then, as someone said, should a mentor be in the same field? Does it have an impact? So this is what I'd say. I could be the best accountant in the world, who, if I am your mentor in terms of accounting, you will skyrocket, like you'll be up there, but maybe we don't share the same values. So that's why the idea of coaching comes in. So if I want a mentor, you need to go for someone who share similar values. Otherwise, you'll always be at loggerheads. It's like getting a therapist who doesn't share values with you. Anyway, you'll never just be on the same page. you know. So I'd say when it comes to having a mentor in the same field should not be so much a problem. If you feel you really need a coach in your particular area of expertise, say accounting, say, I'd say you go for a coach. If your expertise is the most important thing, if the priority is your expertise, then go for a coach. If it's going for a mentor, look for someone who you share the same values with, you know. Yeah. So I don't know if I should let the others answer the other.
Yes, and just briefly.
I was so relaxed, I thought I'll be the last one. But anyway, I think I will answer the question of whether you outgrow your mentors. A short story, when I started fashion, I was taught by my friend. It was in his office, and I learned to the point that we had the same company. We ended up being partners in the business. But after like a year plus of working together, this person taught me everything about fabrics, suits, everything I needed to know, and I learned under him. But after a year and a half, I felt I needed to start by myself. And it was a very tough decision. And this is what I can say. Mentors, just like relationship, you get into it and give it your all. But when it's time to leave, you will know. There will be signs. There are always signs. And so when I felt it was time for me to start by myself, I had to start planning an exit plan. And I left. And I started my business in 2022, now by myself. And what I did is that I didn't ruin the relationship. I didn't ruin the partnership. I left, I didn't carry anything. I didn't carry any machine. I didn't carry any employee. I just left. And I went to start by myself. So don't ruin. If you find you've outgrown your mentor, it's okay. It happens in life. And your growth rate might be different from other people. But if you are leaving, don't burn that bridge. Don't. Because you never know if you will need them. Since then, I've not ever gotten another fashion mentor. So I've been using books, YouTube. I've been learning now everything by myself. The mentor that I have, that I talked about, the one who's mentored me for almost 4 years now, we are not in the same industry, so you don't have to be in the same industry. But open your mind. He is in tech, I am in fashion. But he is my to-go person anytime I'm having a breakdown, anytime I'm sleeping hungry. Business, you can sleep hungry sometimes. And the other day you have millions. So sometimes business you can just be in need of 10,000 shillings, 100,000 shillings. He is my to-go-to person when I need help. And it's very difficult for me to ask for help. And he is also Christian, so he guides me on, when I start dancing on TikTok, I want to be Rihanna, and he's like, no, you can't go that direction, Bright Star. You can't go that direction. So he also keeps me in check because he will remind me why I started. And he was like, you cannot be famous for twerking. You can't do that. So if he wasn't in my life and if he didn't have the same values, I'll probably be twerking by now. So you need a mentor who has the same values as you. So we share the same values. He reminds me to remain grounded. And at the same time, as I said, open your mind. I had to explore ways that I can put tech into fashion, and that's what I'm working in. So see what you can learn from your mentor, even if you're not in the same industry. It's very, very important. See what you can learn, and there's something that she said, and she said that people can confuse you when you're going through. So understand why you need a mentor. That's very, very important. And don't look for a mentor. Start positioning yourself in places that will bring these mentors to you. Go to conferences like this ones here. I'm sure if you're in tech or you're in entrepreneurship or you're in charity, you've already identified mentors here. Approach them, talk to them. Place yourself in strategic positions. And then when you see someone who has something that you would want to learn from them, then go for it. So yes, I think that's the advice I have really. Then there's someone who said she has mentors online and she doesn't have a physical mentor. I don't know if it was a she or him, but this is the thing. I wake up every day and I listen to Steve Harvey. Okay, I listen to Steve Harvey's videos almost every day. Richard Branson. I actually have a list of people who are my board of directors in my companies. And there's people working at Elon Musk, Richard Branson. These are people I don't know, Steven Bartlett. These are people who have accomplished things I would want to accomplish, but I don't know them. Oprah, Michelle. So you can have a list of online mentors and see what is it that you like from them. and then listen to them. If you can't afford a physical person, that's fine. I've learned a lot from online mentors. And I think that also comes to, there's something I want to leave you with as I go, and it's from Richard Branson. He inspires me where business is concerned, reason being that he is dyslexic. And he can't remember a lot of stuff, so what he did, he had to learn to delegate things. And I think I am the younger Richard Branson in terms of I can't use my hand a lot, so I have to delegate almost everything. So look at someone who you look up to or who you have similarities and see how you can learn from them. So he says like this, whatever you can do, you can always hire. You can always get the next person to do it. So I think the reason why a lot of you get confused is that we are trying to do everything. No. When God created you, you're not meant to do everything. So if you're good at sales and branding, now get mentors in sales and branding and hire accountants. Like try and delegate the things that you can do and have at least like 5 things that you do best. And those are the areas that you need mentorship on. You don't need mentorship in everything. There's always someone who can do something you can do. And I'm advising you that because I get used my hands. So just like Steve, just like Richard Branson, my advice is delegate the things you're not good at and focus the ones you're good at. And those are the ones you will get mentorship. And you go very far by doing that.
All right, thank you so much. So, yes,
A lot has been said, I don't want to. I think this question he had, and I'll finish with that, the gentleman who was asking about the issues of the mentee getting into the mentor, and if that happens, what do you do? I think that's the only question that has not been answered, isn't it? But again, it was spoken a little bit when we talked about the wounded healers and finding a place. So should it get, because we're human, you can't be stone cold, Steve Austin, when someone is breaking down in front of you and telling you something, and it triggers something in you that happened to you probably. You can't just assume that you're okay, you're macho man. You can't. You're human. So I think it's always to acknowledge when you realize that is going to affect this relationship, is you as the person who is intentionally being a mentor to this other person, find help yourself. And if you need to pause the mentorship journey for a bit, and just say, for the next 2 months, I think I'm not going to be available because I have to deal with something. And this came up from our session. I think I've never healed from it. And you talking about it just opened a box I didn't know I have not dealt with. And then go, be honest to them. Don't ghost them. Because sometimes it's easy to ghost them. And then they're looking for you, they can't find you, wondering, what did I say? Did I annoy them? No, don't ghost them. Just clearly say, I have to deal with that myself, give me time, and then I will come back. I will let you know when we can resume. And that's just because we're human. So I hope that answers you. Let me say the last thing that I wanted to say, which is very powerful, and Guguni had spoke about it earlier on. I think for a successful mentorship journey, as a mentee, you need to learn how to ask good questions. And good questions, powerful questions, can keep the mentorship journey very beneficial. I remember a story of a guy who met a mentor, and for 45 minutes they were quiet, they were looking at each other. They did not know who to speak first, who to say what. Imagine 45 minutes of torture. Can you stand that? And that mentorship, of course, didn't go anywhere. So asking good questions is going to be a very key skill you have to develop to be a good mentee. And when you ask good questions, it will lead to good conversations, isn't it? People like talking about themselves. Imagine. People don't ask them about themselves, ask them for questions about themselves. They will tell you from the whatever to whatever. It will lead to good conversations. It will lead to good relationships. Because it's not so to be like, hey, that young person, I need to meet them again. Before you realize you have a very healthy relationship here. And these relationships will lead to good opportunities for you. And before you realize, this guy is telling you, hey, I have this gig, can you come and just help me? And before you realize, they're involved in their life, and the opportunity is coming out of that. And those opportunities will lead to good actions. You're doing stuff with these guys, and before you realize there's change going on in your life. And so, good questions lead to good conversations, which lead to good relationships, which lead to good opportunities, which will lead you to good actions, and then you see change happening. That's my
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Let me tell you guys the truth. If there could have been loud music and the video singing, all of you could have been concentrating. I know you are telling somebody good night now on that phone, but then I'm very keen with my audience, for those who know me very well. Let me tell you something even as we close and bring this back to the MC. There is no excuse in not trying. When you are hearing Brightstar speaking, but then it doesn't pay to acknowledge people who have supported you in your journey. You never know. Maybe you might be mentioning Guguni, you might be mentioning Judy, Margaret, Calvin, and maybe you are sharing a same mentor with somebody who is sitting in the same group, but you never met. One thing, always try, and I know Michael and the ones are here, I hope you can attest to this. I always try to connect all my mentees. If I know Michael is somewhere, I tell Michael, please hold the hand of Sherry or someone. Again, so what I can say even as I close is build a strategic, intentional relationship with people whom you meet. Try and understand your niche as an individual. Tell your story. But the most important thing in everything, put God first. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okay.
Sorry for this. This is me thinking I should say something.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to give a little. See, many times, youth is a very temporary season in life. Do you agree with me? Nobody is a youth forever. I'm here to meet someone who's, but youth is a passing season. And so you need to live with that in your mind, knowing that youth is a passing season. I'm no longer youth. I'm 43 years old. Yes, Andy. So then you live the rest of your life in the other side of you are now old. And right now, as I'm speaking to you right now, we are planning the breakfast for this is coming next month. Guess the young man who everybody is like, come here, do this. And he's gaining a lot of experience, he's learning a lot. Right now, things cannot happen without him. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
No, nothing can move. If this young man were not to show up in a meeting, that meeting will not happen. You get the point? He's the youngest person in the team. I hope that communicates something. I feel like I needed to say that. Because I get sick. Sometimes with youth are not being given a chance.
The question is, do they work so hard to get these chances? Right. I know, sometimes when we start speaking, we stop just flows like water. But I'm seeing the soldiers and also just our chiefs are ready. So when as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, even if the MC board, one-on-one, always pass it forward. Once you get the knowledge and the skills, please, usikue mchoyo, share it with somebody else who needs it. Otherwise, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being moderating this session, and allow me to bring this back to our MC of the day. Thank you so much.